welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Deb from DG Reads and I am ready for vacation. I am about to head out the door and take off for nearly a week in Palm Springs. Palm Springs is a little desert town here in California. It's about a 2 to 3 hour drive for me, so not too terribly bad. And we are celebrating a friend's birthday with a fun trip. We have a house booked with a pool. It's supposed to be super, super hot, like 100 to 110 last time I had checked as the weather predictions. So definitely warm, but we have the pool. We have some plans to go in a couple air-conditioned or cooler directions maybe if we do venture away from the house, and it's going to be a lot of fun. What am I going to get up to in terms of reading? Well, I do have a couple of books planned, which I'll tell you about later, that have some Palm Springs kind of settings to them. So that's currently my plan, but I've done very little planning. I don't have a TBR really going into this week for what I have. It is the last week of the Amazing Readathon. So once we get the prompts for our next prompt drop, that'll probably impact things. I think my goal on the way to Palm Springs is to read the last book that I'm going to need for a main prompt, which is a mental health rep. And for that, I am just going to read a quick novella on my way out there, and that is One of Our Own by Lucinda Berry. Lucinda Berry writes really good mental health rep. She has a background in mental health herself, and this one, all I remember about this is I have a gifted copy sitting on Libro FM that I'm really overdue on reading from Simon Audio, but in any case, it is one that I've been wanting to get to and I just haven't yet. I know people who have really enjoyed it, and I looked really quickly at the synopsis hoping it would have mental health something in it, and the first line says something about a suicide hotline. So I'm not planning to give midway thoughts on this one because it's a short book and I'm going to be in the car for a long time. So that is my plan for what to finish up first. I will be bringing you along with me, show you what we get up to. Not sure how exciting it will be or won't be, but I have seen a few bookstores in Palm Springs that I would love to check out. The house itself, I'm really excited to see it. A couple of my friends are already there. I had to sit in a training today and do a work day, and then I just took Kylie and dropped her off for boarding, which is always the worst part of going on vacation, but I will be picking her up again next week, and I'm already looking forward to the fact that she's really going to be happy to see me. And for now, I just have a few last things to pack, and mostly beverages and iced beverages because it is really going to be hot there, and I am bringing my slushie machine along to do some adult beverages for poolside. So that is the plan. I need to finish up packing, hit the road, get to audiobooking on my way there, and I will check in with you later. Hello from Palm Springs. Not quite sure how lighting wise and sound wise. There's a lot of background noise. We'll see. But I made it out here last night, got here about 9 o'clock. It was a nice drive. I waited for traffic to lighten up, which was nice, and didn't love driving through the desert in the absolute dark, but aside from that, it was a good drive. And the house is nice, the pool is gorgeous, and looking forward to a fun weekend. We are about to go out, find some brunch, and go from there. But I did want to let you know I did read One of Our Own by Lucinda Berry, and that one was good, powerful, I think really well written, but definitely heavy for a vacation type of vlog. But we are following a woman who works in a suicide hotline, a young girl who calls in because she's thinking of killing herself because she has been drugged, raped, and filmed, and this film has been distributed amongst all of her fellow students at her high school. The thing is, the woman who answers the phone recognizes the school name, and it's the school where her son goes, and she oversteps a little bit but gives her personal cell phone out to this young girl to be able to contact. This young girl is thinking of doing bad things to herself, bad things to the other people in the school who did this to her, and our main character wants to find her. It really was a heavy one, but I think so well done. I'm really glad that I did it at a time where I could just sit and binge read the whole thing on audio in my car, because it definitely had me on the edge of my seat. It did a really good job of keeping me alert and awake and aware, but also it was a heavy read. So 100% check trigger warnings on this one. If you were to look into it, I would recommend it, but only if you're in the right headspace for it. So that was really just my quick update for the moment, and I'm gonna head off and find some good food. It is really, really hot out here, and that's all I know so far. So I'll check in with you guys later. Greetings from Future Deb. I am back at work. I am also trying to do some editing in between different things, and it turns out one of my significant clips from fairly early in the trip disappeared on me. It's not on the camera, it's not on the card. I don't know what happened. Like, the film clips skip a number, so obviously it was filmed, but somehow it's just not there. So thankfully I have a lot of B-roll of the things I talked about in that clip, so I can roll some of that so you don't have to look at my really poorly lighted car recording here, and I can try to cover what I know I talked about in that particular clip. We found a nice little bakery and coffee shop for paws, and they had a really cute puppy decor. So that was our first stop of the day. And then we hung out at the house for a while, got in the pool for a while, and then decided to go out for the evening because that was my friend's birthday, actually the day of her birthday. And we went into Palm Springs. Walked around a bit because they have a night fair going on there, and found a restaurant to sit and watch the soccer game a little bit and enjoy some really good food and wander the market just a bit. We then on Friday got tickets to go up the tram, and that takes you to the second highest point in Southern California.
5 large towers. Each one of those towers has a little bit of a swing to it.
But it's a 12-minute tram ride that takes you basically straight up the mountain. It's rotating while you go, so you can see the different views over the valley that includes Palm Springs, and it was a really cool experience. It does rock quite a bit more than I expected it to going up, which was an interesting time because since the floor is rotating and the outside of it is not rotating, it's hard to hold on to things because so it was an interesting time. The views at the top were really stunning. I definitely got a lot of clips of that.
Left, you will see that other tram car coming down. Don't blink or you'll miss it.
It's about 20 degrees to 30 degrees cooler at the top of the tram because you're so high up, and that definitely makes a difference when it's like 100 degrees down below and 70 something up above. It definitely feels much more comfortable up there. So that was a fun experience. We wandered around just a little bit up there. There is some opportunity to do some hiking and pretty extensive hikes, short hikes. We just did kind of a little bit of going up some stairs and a little bit of scrabbling over some rocks to see the views and so forth without getting too heavy duty into it. So did that, then took the trek back down, which they played music on the way down. On the way up, there was some stuff about educating you and what the tram is and what the heights are and stuff. On the way back down, they're like, you're done with this, here, have some music. So it was a fun trip overall. And then the reading update part that I gave you in that clip, I started reading Voyagers by Meg Charlton. That is a gifted copy that just happened to show up last week at my house from HarperCollins, and it's a one that I'd had on my radar to pick up for reading in Palm Springs because I knew the setting was related to Palm Springs. At least part of the setting of the book is in Palm Springs. So I started reading it in the morning on the 25th, and throughout kind of the next couple of days I kept picking it up, and I was reading it entirely with my eyes, which is a rarity for me, but I kept being pulled back to it, so that is always a good sign in the beginning. I do have a clip with my final thoughts for it, so I will save that for you, but the plot of this one is you have two children, I believe it's Alex and Anna, and we're reading from Alex's perspective, and they're about 6 years old. They meet through both of their families having these vacations on the edge of Palm Springs, and they wind up having a sleepover at Anna's house with her mother. In the morning, they're discovered to be missing, and they're missing for 36 hours. And no one really knows what happens to them, but the story story when they come back seems to be an abduction story, an alien abduction story. And this leads them to be rather well known, rather famous. Their return is caught on film when they come back out of the desert, and there are lasting physical and emotional and just general reputational type of impacts on this. They remain friends for years and years and years, and then at some point they drift apart. And we are following Alex in the present day, and in the present day there is a signal coming from somewhere in space, and it seems to be alien in nature. So this is calling back into question what happened to them as children, and all of this is going on, and it allows him and Anna to reconnect. So with that, I'll leave that there, I think, for now, other than obviously I was enjoying it at the time, as I told you in this clip that disappeared, and hopefully the rest of my clips are all there when I go to edit them appropriately. It's Sunday now. It's been a little bit since last I updated you. I honestly don't remember, but we said goodbye to some of our group. There's 4 of us left, so we're just chilling. We went into downtown Palm Springs. I of course found the bookstore because that was my main objective in going out today, and wound up not being able to find what I originally was looking for, which is the new Stephen Rowley book, which I do already have on audio, so that may actually be the book I read on the way back when I leave on Tuesday. But I did pick up Verity Guild by my Copeland. This one is really, really pretty edition, and it's on my TBR for July, so I am looking forward to reading it. I enjoyed what I've read from this author before, which was just book 1 in her last series, 5 Broken Blades. I enjoyed it, but it was a little too many couples and romances going on in the same book, but I've been wanting to try the author again. So that's this. Sorry, people coming going in this house, so that was that little break in the moment. But so yeah, we did the bookstore. It was a really nice bookstore. They didn't, like I said, have the brand new one in, just shipment hasn't come in yet, but they had a lot of great selections. I did enjoy their little table at the front because they had little reasons why you might want different books, which was a lot of fun. And then we went out to lunch, and I got a braised salad, which was really yummy and also really pretty. My friends made me take a picture of it. So I haven't been documenting my food very much on this journey for this particular trip, but that was good. So now we're back at the house. We walked around a little bit, did a little bit of browsing in different stores, and now we're about to jump in the pool. It is a little bit breezy today, but generally speaking, it's nice out. So I did want to update because I did finish up Voyagers this morning, and I enjoyed this, but I don't necessarily know why. It is a slower story, and you do have to kind of know that going in. I liked kind of the gimmick of it, that these 2 kids made up this alien, kind of, or did they? And you get little snippets during the story of the alien's story, about the alien, about his job, about his mission to study humans, and you get these little passages like this that are about the alien named Alan. And also, like, we see Anna and Alex telling stories about Alan and what he's up to, what his mission was, why he took them. And all throughout this book, you don't really know, were they taken by aliens, were they not taken by aliens? You know there's something in the present day as they are adults that is coming towards Earth, that there's this signal that's interfering with Earth. And it's kind of a doomsday almost story going on. And it's not the type of book that 100% gives you all the answers at the end, but it felt satisfying in the way it ended. And like I said, like, it's a slower story. It's definitely more character-based than plot-based, I would say. But I've been reading this pretty much 100% with my eyes during this trip, just sitting, and even with like distractions going on, conversations around me, the pretty scenery, the pool, everything. I've, just not flown through it because it's taken me several days. I haven't been reading that much time per day, but it's kept me really engaged and wanting to keep going. I told my friends this morning I couldn't leave to go book shopping until I finished because I only had like 10 pages left by the time they were getting ready to go. So that was that, and I am ready to jump in the pool. I don't know what I'm going to be reading next. Probably need to pull something up on my Kindle and read that way. I didn't bring any other physical books with me, and I'm not quite ready to start Verity Guild, I don't think. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll probably wind up reading Take Me With You by Stephen Rowley. That's the new one that has recently come out. I do have an audiobook copy of that was gifted to me, so that's probably the plan for the drive home. In the meantime, I'm not sure, but we'll see. If I have another update for you, I definitely will provide one, and we'll go from there. It is my last full day here for vacation, which is sad, but it's going to be a nice, relaxing, very easygoing type of day. We got up this morning and chilled around the house, did some reading, which I'll update you on in a minute, but I also got on Google, as one does, and found another bookstore. It's a pretty new one here, and it's part of a co-op. So made my best friend get in the car with me, go over and check it out, and it is one of multiple different stores, just all a little bit quirky and funky and a lot of fun to look around in. And the bookstore is pretty new, I gather. Their social media is not 100% up and running, but it's Books and Secrets, and the shops have a lot of really cute stuff, a lot of really expensive stuff that's really pretty. And there was a little dog boutique to poke around in, and places that sold jewelry and different crystals and sculptures and art. There's a cafe. It was really a fun little place to look around, so that was fun. I did pick up a couple of books and packaged them up really nicely for me. But I picked up The Chamber by Will Dean, which is one I've been wanting to get to. This is an author I've definitely enjoyed before, and I've read his most recent and his book prior to this one, but haven't picked this one up yet. And then the only Stephen Rowley that I haven't picked up is Lily and the Octopus, so had to rectify that when I saw this. They have their books all, kind of, not all, but a good chunk of their book arranged in rainbow pattern, so it took me a bit to find the one I was looking for, but I did find it, and I'm excited to pick these up. So, speaking of Stephen Rowley, I'm now about 40% into Take Me With You by Stephen Rowley, which is his new one that just came out. I wound up holding it, even though I have a gifted copy, because I wanted to bring it with me here because I knew it was set locally. I believe he lives locally, or at least part of the time he lives locally, so I thought it would be fun. What I didn't remember, just from trying to remember off the top of my head, was this one also is kind of an alien abduction story, although not really. Very much like the other book I read on this trip. We are following a main character. He is living in Joshua Tree, which is local to Palm Springs here, and he sees a bright light in the middle of the night. He sees his husband go out and get pulled up into the light, and he tries to hold on to him. He tries to pull him back down. He tries to get his attention. He can't do any of those things, so he basically feels abandoned. He doesn't really tell anyone, or he says it to a couple of people who don't really believe him that his husband was abducted, but he's trying to figure out his life, and we are getting flashbacks to their marriage, their history, their attempts to have a family, their extended family. His husband's sister shows up to the house with some pretty significant questions and requests from him. He is a teacher. He is teaching a writing or humor course, I guess it is, and the prompt he's working around is a time you feel abandoned but finding humor in it. And I think it's just really interesting. It's very much a character study and a character-driven story as opposed to a real plot-heavy story, but I think it's doing really well. I like kind of the moments of dark humor. I like seeing some familiar places, both with the Palm Springs idea. Also, he makes a road trip to visit mother in Santa Barbara, which is where I went to college, which is a lot of fun. So I'm having a good time with this one. I do have a gifted copy of the ebook, which I had kind of forgotten that I had when last I talked to you. And so I've been reading that physically, just sitting outside this morning. And I do have have the audiobook out from the library, so I'll probably finish it on the drive home tomorrow is what I'm thinking, and provide you with the final update once I get home. But it's been a lovely week and I'm ready to enjoy the pool a little bit more. And finally, I've been getting to use this pool cover up that I crocheted a while back, way back when, which I haven't really had a chance to be at a pool. It's a little too heavy to like take on a plane. You know, the yarn takes up too much space, but it's perfect for here. It's nice cotton, so it's breathable. Anyway, that's beside the point. But I'm ready to get back out to the pool and check in with you probably after I get home, being realistic, but check in with you later. I am back home and unfortunately back ready to go back to work this morning. I got home yesterday, was able to unpack the car. I got home early enough to do that and then go pick up Kylie when the vet opened after her lunch break and bring her home. And then honestly, we just kind of crashed. I had to finish watching the current season of From, which is a TV show I absolutely love. It's not my favorite season of it, but still, I think it ended us on a lot of really interesting notes for the final season, which I believe season 5 is being produced to be the final season. So I am really looking forward to when we get that. And then Cassidy at Covers with Cassidy has been doing a Vampire Diaries watch along with her Patreon for years. Way back when I used to participate with that and really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, the timing wound up changing at one point. It didn't quite work with my schedule perfectly anymore with work. But since I was home yesterday, they were doing the series finale of Vampire Diaries. So I was able to join in on that, which I always love that finale. I think it's such an epic finale with everyone showing up in it, and was able to watch that. And then I just kind of crashed out last night, honestly. Kylie and I were both tired, got in bed, went to bed early. So you'd think I'd be much more perky this morning. I am very much dreading looking to going to work today, but that's okay because I do need to wrap up this vlog. I finished On My Way Home yesterday, Take Me With You, and I liked this one. It's not a new favorite by Stephen Rowley by any means, but I think it was such an interesting way to enter into this discussion on relationships, on the ups and the downs of a relationship by starting with this alien abduction and having it really be a feeling of abandonment instead of, oh no, my husband got taken and it was against his choices. This was very much Jesse as our protagonist looking at this as my husband chose to go and abandon me, and what does that mean for my relationship? What does that mean for my future? And without getting into spoilers, we do get other perspectives. Norman, the missing husband's sister, gets a POV in the story as well as we get further in. I think that's okay to say. There is also another POV that comes in with its own emotions and everything going on as well, even further into the book. And I was frustrated by characters in places, and definitely a need to communicate better at least. But I do like seeing how the characters grew, how they came to accept certain things, not accept certain things, and all of that. So in the end, I am giving this a 4-star, maybe verging on a 3.5 in places, but I think 4 is a good solid score for this one. So with that, I did finish up my drive home, read a couple bits of other arcs that'll be showing up in an arc attack very soon, but that wraps up our reading for Palm Springs. Did the first book I read on the way to Palm Springs match the theme? No, but without really intending it, Voyagers and Take Me With You both had a lot going on that had some similarities there, which I did not anticipate, which I really appreciated. And I had a fantastic time, of course, in Palm Springs itself. It was nice just to decompress, to get rest, get relaxation, get some reading by the pool in, actually read with my eyes for once without 5,000 things around the house distracting me, and to celebrate my friend's birthday, of course. Let me know in the comments below, what are your travel plans this summer? I don't really have anything else scheduled apart from this at this point until I get to October. But I'd love to hear what you may be up to for your summer travels or what your favorite summer destination is. And if you made it this far and you don't have anything to comment but would like to let me know you were here, is there an emoji of a palm tree? Because definitely Palm Springs, that seems to work for, or anything that makes you think summer vacation would work. If you could hit that like button below, I would surely appreciate it. Subscribe if you're interested in more of my bookish travels, more of my book thoughts, and more of my bookish content in general. But for now, I'll leave you here and see you real soon in a new video.